How's it going, everybody? This is Sean from LumixLive, and even though we're taking a couple of weeks off for some much-needed vacation, we still wanted to record a couple of videos to provide you guys some insight and some, kind of tips and tricks for how to utilize your cameras during the holidays this year. Now, I'm going to be covering how you can get your Lumix camera in for webcasting by using the Lumix Webcam software driver that we released a little while ago. Really primarily for using something like Google Meet, where you may want to have a ton of friends and family all virtually meeting together, or if you're trying to throw like a virtual party, happy hour kind of thing, how you can utilize your camera and get the best quality out of it for this kind of activity. Because let's face it, if we have these cameras and we have downtime, why use a webcam that's on a computer when you've got the equipment and no real additional accessories needed for it? In addition, I'm also going to be covering some of the cool Wi-Fi functionality that we have with the Lumix Sync app in particular, for being able to capture photos of your day if it's your close family, since a lot of us are still in the kind of staying within your household, not having large parties, that kind of thing. So you can be able to capture photos and immediately have them sent over to your mobile device or tablet, so you can get those shared out to family and friends as well. We know that obviously with how difficult this year's been, being able to connect with family and friends, even though you can't be necessarily together physically, that doesn't mean that we can't be doing this virtually. And as photographers and videographers, we have all of the equipment at our fingertips from our normal day-to-day work to facilitate this and make it a much better experience for everybody. So let's jump over. I'm actually going to cover some stuff about how to connect in with the webcam utility first. So let's take a look at some of that. Now that we're on my Windows computer, you can see that I've already downloaded the brand new Lumix webcam software. Now, just as a reminder, this is a beta software. All you're going to have to do is double-click with administrative privileges and click Yes. Now follow the prompts to install the program. As a quick point, it is typically good practice to restart your computer after any program install. So I'm going to restart my computer now. Now that the computer's been restarted, let's actually take a look at the camera side to see how to get the Lumix S5 attached for webcam use. As you can see, I have my Lumix S5 on the tripod ready to use as a webcam. I'm going to be using the included USB-C cable that comes with the Lumix S5 charging kit and my Lumix S5. This cable is plugged into the back USB 3.0 Type A port on the motherboard of my computer. All I'm going to do now is connect this to the USB-C port on the camera. Now that the USB-C is connected into the camera, I'm going to select PC Tether. Once that's selected, we can jump back to the computer now. Cool. So now that the camera's all set up and you've got the camera connected, plugged into your computer, and you're kind of in like a standby mode, I'm going to jump over to my Google Meet and show you how we actually set this up for being able to do the actual kind of meeting portion of this. So you'll see here I'm in my Google Meet screen here, but by default I have my OBS virtual cam set up as the camera. Now for this application, you're just going to click on the three dots here. You're going to go into settings. And then under video, you're going to change this camera to Lumix webcam software. Now you'll see you'll get the little preview up here. And one of the things I like to do if you've got a good enough upload and download on your home internet is to set your send and receive resolutions to the maximum of 720p. Since that's what the camera is outputting anyway, and that is what the maximum is that Google Meet allows in this case. And it's pretty much the same for other platforms as well. So we'll set this to 720p. Now, depending on the computer that you're using, your audio settings are going to be a little different. In my case, because I'm doing this on my desktop for a demonstration, I have my microphone, which is coming through as my ATEM Mini, which is what I use for the normal streaming. And my speakers are set up to my headphones because usually I'm using this platform for back and forth communication with a guest. But in your case, this is probably going to be set up for, say, a laptop or home speakers or something else that you have attached. So usually you would set these as default. For the purpose of like a party or a gathering or something like that, where you want to, kind of have a virtual hangout, setting this to default microphone on the laptop is perfectly fine. And setting the speakers to be the laptop as well will also work incredibly fine for that platform as well. When you do it that way and you work with a laptop, you can easily either connect into Bluetooth speakers to have it pipe through the room, or if your laptop has a 3.5 millimeter microphone jack, you can also pipe audio out that way. So you just select the correct audio that you need for your platform and you'll be set. Once you have this done, all you're going to do in this case with Google Meet is just click Join Now, and you see I've got my camera set up, it's streaming, and we're all good to go. One of the cool things with some of these platforms is when you actually go into the settings while you're on the actual stream, you can change the way the overall platform is set up. You can add all that kind of crazy blur background, or if you're going into like a party mode, you can do tiled and change the number of tiles and guests. So if you've got a big group of people all gathering together, you can just up the number so that it's all on one screen. This is one of the ways that I set up a group party kind of experience for some friends of mine, where they're going to have their laptop just HDMI out into a TV, and their 70-inch TV is going to have the group on it. So you can put more depending on the size of the screen that you have. So this is a pretty simple, easy way for you to be able to, gather with everybody virtually and use the cameras that you already have, in my case, my G100, for, just being able to gather together. And do it in a safe way. When you're using the Wi-Fi functionality in Lumix cameras, you have a couple of different methods that this will work with, for kind of depending on what your application is. In this case, since we're more concerned about being able to take the photos and have them immediately send over to a mobile device or tablet, I'm going to show you how to get your camera set up for the send while shooting functionality that the Lumix cameras have with their Wi-Fi. So let's jump over to my S5 that I'm using for this demonstration, and I'll walk you through how to get that set up in the menus, and then we'll jump over onto the mobile device and show you how that works as well. So now that we're here on my S5, you'll see all I'm going to do is press the menu button. I'm going to go to the settings menu, which you'll see is setup. I'll go into this menu, we'll go to the in and out settings, and then go to Wi-Fi. Now in Wi-Fi, this is a bit different than the quick access function that will automatically put the camera into like kind of a pairing mode that the phone just has to connect to the SSID with. Instead, we're going to follow through further and go Wi-Fi function. Once the camera gets into this Wi-Fi mode, we're going to do new connection, and then we're going to set send images while recording. Now from here you have a couple of different options. It's smartphone, PC, cloud sync storage if you're in a region that supports that, and web service. For this purpose we're going to use smartphone. Now from here you can either do Wi-Fi or direct. In this case I'm going to do via network. And then I'm going to go to the from list option. Now what this is going to do is allow me to connect the camera to my mobile connectivity in my house, so my Wi-Fi, and any device that I have that has the Lumix Sync app running will let me connect to the camera through my home Wi-Fi network. So this is a little bit easier to do it, especially if you're going to be moving around a lot. You don't necessarily want to have your phone in your pocket within range of the camera. It just broadens how you can work with this. So in this case, I'll have my phone, say, in the bedroom on a charge because I'm not using it. I can just be connected to my home network and still be able to send all of this content over. So I'm going to connect into my home network, which is Gladys here. Okay, now that my camera is connected into my wireless network, so my home internet, the next thing I'm going to do is jump over to my mobile device, and we're going to walk through the process of getting that connected to see the camera on my network. So now what we'll do is we'll bring my phone in on this. Okay. Now that we're working with my mobile device, you'll see from the camera it said to open the Lumix Sync app. Now to start with, I am now connected here on my wireless network that we were working on here, which is GLaDOS. And all I'm going to do is go into my photography apps, open Lumix Sync, and then because I've been working back and forth with a lot of things here on my mobile device, I'm going to click on the three icons here, click on Wi-Fi connection, Wi-Fi setup, make sure that I'm connected to the same network, just swipe back here, and the phone is now going to search my internet access here for the camera. Once it finds the camera, it'll continue the setup process and it's ready to receive images from camera, perform some operations on the camera. Now what it's going to ask me to do is jump back to my camera here. We'll say select device to connect to. I'm going to connect to my Pixel 4a 5G. Now I can select what size and file format I want to send over. Since I'm doing this for friends, families, I don't need RAW files, I'm going to leave it as file format JPEG, but if I press the display send settings, I can go to size and send the original files. This will send the full-size image over to the camera, or over to the mobile device, and just take the highest quality that you can get. Now you do have the ability to click under file format and change to JPEG, JPEG plus RAW, or just RAW files. But again, this is a more simplified kind of just sending a bunch of snapshots over, so I'm just going to send JPEGs. Now from here I'm going to go back, and then all I have to do is press set, and the camera is now set, ready to send images over as I am shooting. You'll notice that you have the icon in the top that has the little Wi-Fi icon next to where the stabilization mention is, and that's what indicates that you are recording, you are ready to go, and being able to send the content over. And when we look at my mobile device, you'll see that it confirms that I'm connected to my camera, because you'll see that it says the camera and then the SSID for the network that I'm on, and that Wi-Fi is active. So now, when I take a picture, you'll see that the camera is taking the photo. You'll get the little icon that says R1, which I will do again, in the top right. And what that means is that it's sending one out, and then on the mobile device, you'll get a notification here that says receiving image, and that image is now stored on my mobile device. So if I go into my photos, you'll see that those new images are now stored on the phone. And when I swipe up to look at the different settings here, you'll see that it's still passing all of the metadata over. It's my S5, it's the 50mm 1.4, it's the full 6000 by 4000 pixel, so 24 megapixel JPEG image that's been sent over. Now the cool thing is you can also do this with having the GPS activated on your Bluetooth connection. So if you want to geotag them, you can always do that as well. That does require you to connect direct into the mobile device for that to work, because it has to have the GPS connectivity from the mobile device to tag where those images are. But in general, this is a super quick way to get images over to your mobile device and ready to go. Now, one last little thing that I wanted to cover here is that depending on whether you're an iOS or an Android user, the process is going to be the exact same for both of these devices. The menus are going to be a little different, obviously, because you have iOS versus Android, but we all know that there are going to be some subtle differences there. But for the purpose of being able to send these images to friends and family, though there's no direct way to send these right into a cloud service platform here in the United States, you have the ability to have the images go into your mobile device, like again, in my case, Android, and have the photos automatically backed up. And what I do in a case like that is the images are backed up automatically into the Lumix Sync folder, which shows up in Google Photos. I have that syncing into my cloud with my phone itself, And then that folder I just have shared to friends and family that are at the party. So it makes it a pretty simple, straightforward way to do it. On the iOS devices, you have typically photos and the whole platform there. So if you've got cloud storage and you've got it set ready to go, you can automatically have it backing up there as well. So that was a really quick way to talk about how to get your images while you're shooting off your camera to a mobile device or tablet and having them sent out. We do have other videos that explain how to actually get the photos from your camera into a local network storage or a network attached storage, so a NAS. But that's a much more complicated process for something that we would be doing over the holidays, specifically something like today. We have Christmas and New Year's coming up and some other holidays as well. So you've got a whole lot of a time to really play around with these settings, find the ones that work best for you, and get yourself some good memories to share out to friends and family. So this was a pretty quick, kind of way to cover different topics for spending time with friends and family, even though we're not able to be together physically. It's been a tough year, and I think a lot of us are looking for some good time off, hence why we're recording these sessions. I want to thank everybody who has joined us since around April when we started with these LumixLive sessions. You guys have been an amazing audience. You guys have provided so much insight into what the community wants to see from Panasonic Lumix. And we're happy that this is a platform that seems to be accepted by a lot of you. As a reminder, we have another recorded session coming up next week on New Year's Eve. That session is going to be more about, you got a brand new camera. Here's a bunch of really cool tips and tricks to get your first camera set up. If it's a new camera to you, maybe you'll learn some new little tips and tricks that we've got on some of these cameras that you may have not used before. But I will be talking about, some point and shoots all the way up into the S series. So it's going to be a more general-based kind of conversation. We do also still have the email address. That's lumix.live@us.panasonic.com. that anyone can send questions to for the different LumixLive sessions. We're using that as a platform for you to submit questions that might not be something that we can get to off the cuff during a live stream. So if it's something that has, maybe more complexity to what you're asking, or if it's something that is a very specific style of shooting that you've got questions about, feel free to drop them in the lumix.live@us.panasonic.com email. We don't respond from that email address just because it goes to a couple of us so we can research and create content and, really deliver the things that you all are asking for. So other than that, I want to wish everyone a happy holidays. Hope you're all doing well, taking some time off during this time of the year. And I look forward to bringing you more content next week during the next recorded stream. And as a reminder, we'll be back live on Thursdays moving forward in January. So join us for then, and see you next time.